to be happening. And for that reason, he's interjected a lot more procedures, formalities, forms to give folks every possible right that they deserve. And so if you compare a jury trial session of today to 10 or 15 years ago, you're going to see a vast difference, not only in time, but in procedures that were going on. So, you know, as far as how you deal with it in July or August or whenever it comes up again, I'm sure the judge is going to have some of his own ideas about things, but I have not received any calls from anyone threatening to sue the city for a lack of due process or being treated unfairly or inappropriately or anything like that. And in that respect, the judge that's operating an efficient and proper court in the big picture can save you a lot of headaches and a lot of money also. So.
Thank you, Ray. I agree with that. I think Judge Ramirez has been our judge for almost 2 years and hasn't asked for any situation like this in the past, as Councilwoman Vaughn indicated. So I can support this, and I can support him as well. So he is a very efficient and very outstanding judge. Any further discussion on item H? We have a motion on item H.
Second.
Motion approved by Councilman Linger, second by Councilman Rodriguez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries as written. Item I, discussion and appropriate action on request to approve City Council's resolution number 622, a resolution recommending approval to the City Public Service Energy to fund a total estimated amount of $8,380 from Community Infrastructure and Economic Development Funds for the installation of underground electrical supply lines from the overhead transmission line to Valley View Seventh-day Adventist Church. Assistant City Manager, Mr. Quintanilla.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I bring this resolution before you tonight in support of the Bridgehaven lift station. We are trying to complete these last few steps to get electrical to the lift station to get the Judson Independent School District Elementary School operational.
And your recommendation is approval on this?
Yes, sir. I recommend approval.
Okay. Any discussion on item I as written? Councilman Schindler, go ahead.
How much do we have remaining in this fund?
Mr. Hughes.
Round numbers, about 500,000. A little over 500,000. We are, and of course, it comes in pieces. The rough estimate is around 70,000 a year that comes and stacks up, okay. But if you don't use it over a certain period of time, the last year falls out. And so we have some 65,000 at risk that if we don't use it, it will go away, and this 8,300 will come from that. And so we're looking for other projects, but the problem with the underground conversion is it requires about $300 a linear foot to put the line underground. And so with the amount of money we get per year, you have difficulty finding a project that you can afford to make that happen. So we've used it to put underground to the City Hall. We've used it to put underground for a short piece of Lone Shadow. There are several places, but we're pretty much restricted to a couple blocks at a project. And so that's probably more you wanted to know. But
Right. No, exactly what I want to know. Not only do I support this project, I think we ought to pursue other projects so we're able to use that additional $65,000 that you're talking about before we lose it.
Thank you. Any further discussion on item I? We have a motion on item I as written. Motion to approve. Motion approved by Councilman Schindler, second by Councilwoman Riley. All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries as written. Item J, discussion and appropriate action on request to approve the Bear Metro 9/11 fiscal year 2010 proposed budget. Quick overview, Mr. Hughes.
Bear 911 is the network that supports all of our emergency response calls. This is paid for by each of us getting a little hickey on our telephone bill each month, so we contribute around 50 cents. Every time you get a monthly telephone bill, that goes into Bureau Metro 911. They then provide the automated radio networks that allow you to call 911 on a cell phone or on your landline. It comes to the proper dispatch, and then from there the dispatch goes out to police or fire, EMS, and so forth. And this outlines what they intend to spend their money on and how much money for the next fiscal year. So you can look at the numbers in terms of more detail in here. In other words, you can see expenses, personnel, $1,410,260. You would have to ask for additional information to talk about how many people is involved and so forth. But looking at this, you can see the trend is fairly consistent. Looks like they're going to make additional capital investment this year to upgrade some of their technology and hardware. And so I see nothing that jumps out that says we ought to challenge this budget. Recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Go ahead.
I believe 911, I believe the budget's fair. I believe it's a great program. I did have a comment, though. The other night I had an occasion to call 911, and I had quite a bit of difficulty getting through, so I finally hung up on that and called our dispatch and got the problem solved. I also recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on item J. Motion approved by Councilman Riley, second by Councilman Rodriguez. All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries as written. Item 11, reports. Item 11A, council members report items of interest. One. Councilman Riley, go ahead.
After serving here a year as city councilwoman, I have never encountered so many negative and destructive comments for the city of Converse. It's been an eye-opener. So for a change tonight, I'm going to do a positive, constructive comment. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that we don't hear here or you don't hear out there. We have sewer problems in our city that we know are being addressed. They are being looked at and taken into consideration. We've had a continuing problem on a street where every time it rains, the resident's house backs up. This happened this week to a 94-year-old woman. Various plumbers have come there to that residence telling the 94-year-old woman that her clay pipes were all cracked and broken, and that she needs about $10,000 or $15,000 to replace all her pipes and her plumbing. Upon calling Mr. Hughes, telling him about this problem, they do have a free service to residents. Even though it costs the city maybe a little money to do that, it far outweighs what it could cost the city if they didn't have this service. They took their camera and put it down in the sewer, the clay, and found out that she was clear all the way and that her pipes were in great condition. Her cleanout needed just to be raised a little bit more above the ground, which they did do. It was a city sewer blockage. It was not the residents. But they were out there at 7:30 the next morning taking care of this. And this isn't the only incident. This goes on and on and on. And I want to applaud Mr. Hughes. I thanked him personally. And I know this goes on all the time. And he takes care of all these problems and no one hears about it. But this is so great that our city can do something this positive and this constructive. And I want to let people know that these nice things are really going on. Thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you, Councilwoman Michelle.
Yes. I want to say to Councilman Riley, I appreciate that report. It's good to hear good things about the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Sure.
Go ahead. Councilman Schindler.
This is kind of a public information Public information announcement. Via bus, if you're at all interested in via bus, tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. at the Converse Area Public Library, there's going to be a public hearing. And this is concerning Route 21 that comes to Converse and Route 639. They're proposing to change these routes by eliminating 639 and incorporating it into 621. So if you ride via bus or know someone that does ride via bus, you should attend this public hearing to find out what's going on.
Would you repeat the place?
Converse Area Public Library,
Oh, the library.
Yes.
6 p.m. tomorrow.
Thank you. Councilman Rodriguez.
Yes, caveat on what Councilwoman Riley said and what Councilman Schunner said. Again, public announcement, and also to thank our city as well. The Relay for Life American Cancer Society is Friday, June the 5th. It runs till June the 6th, which is early in the morning. It's an all-night event. It's going to be held here for the first time, City of Commerce, at the Judson Stadium. So if you're a cancer survivor, know anybody that's a cancer survivor, bring them out there. It's an all-night event. We will be out there all night. Again, City Council, you're more than welcome. Please show up, support it. It's the first time it's happened in our city. Okay. Next is project graduation. I'd like to thank our fire department and our police department for everything they do for the Judson County School District. I think they're doing a superb job. There's other organizations like the Lions Club that presented a check tonight to the project graduation as well. So again, you have nonprofit organizations in the city that are continuing to help and support our kids, all of our children in the city of Converse. Okay? So please get with them, thank them personally, the fire department, the police department, the Lions Club, and also the citizens that volunteer. They are looking for people that wish to participate tomorrow night as card dealers for the children and at the graduation celebration. Also, Mr. Hughes, what I'd like to put on the agenda for the next meeting, if possible, is I know that Mrs. Mona Lapierre had talked to me and passed about the band. I know summer's coming, the children are going to be out, and I know that she would like to have a band out there every...
That issue was taken care of by Mr. Quintanilla quite some time back.
Okay, great. And I just wanted to address it, make sure that you were good to go, and that your issue...
And it was very favorably accepted by the city council, whoever accepted it. And I was given permission to have music from Monday to Friday from 9 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. And on Saturdays and Sundays from noon to 9. And you can't get better than that.
Okay, so again, you're going to have some bands out there. Please come and support your local businesses. Bring your children out there and support our local businesses and enjoy the ice creams and the snow cones out there. Got some great snow cones. Also, Mr. Hughes, the Kitty Hawk. I know I've been getting calls on Kitty Hawk. What's the status? I know it's a DOT issue. Have we got any resolution or resolve on a timeline of when that's going to be completed? The Topper One Road project. Again, I've been calls on that. But I also would like to thank you. A lot of citizens on Windburn Trail did call about the big, when it rained, that flood issue that we had out there by the bus stop. Y'all cut into the sidewalk or something and it runs into the field out there.
I can address all those items when it's my turn.
Okay, great. And I just want to thank you for that because I've gotten nothing but comments to thank y'all for the wonderful job that y'all did that it drained in less than 30 minutes. Where before it would sit out there for a couple of days if you've ever driven down that area. So I just wanted to pass that on to you from the citizens, that now drains in 30 minutes, and they really appreciate it. And the people said at the bus stop aren't getting soaking wet anymore. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Okay, item B, Mayor's report. Received a call from Mayor Live Oak Mayor Joe Painter thanking all participants in the annual Memorial Day Parade and ceremonies, Councilwoman Pichelle, Councilman Lindgren, Citizens Police Academy, the Police Department, the Public Works, Water Department, and the Fire Department. Thank you for your participation. The American Legion has invited all council members to the Jubilee Banquet this Saturday. Contact Judy for RSVP. Mr. Schindler spoke about the changes to Route 21, 639 public hearing for VIA set this week. The JYSF had their closing ceremonies. Mr. Hughes, I'd like to thank our Public Works Parks Department for doing an outstanding job for the fields throughout the whole season. They were very, very appreciative of the fields and the work. We're probably in the best condition they've ever seen them. So I want to thank them for that, for their hard work. And that's all I have. Item C, report discussion of the Fire and EMS Commission. Councilman Rodriguez.
We were scheduled to have one on Memorial Day, it was canceled, been rescheduled, haven't set a time and a date for that yet.
City Manager report, Mr. Hughes.
We're having a runoff election. Early voting started yesterday. I have 2 days. You want to give them an interim report?
I think we had a very good turnout yesterday with 115 early voters for the runoff. That was, to me, very excellent. And 83, I believe, today, which we came to 198 at the end of today. And of course, everyone knows early voting is going on this week, Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, closed 12 to 1 for lunch, next Monday and Tuesday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And in my office at 407 South Seguin. Election day, of course, is Saturday, June the 13th, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. in the City Hall Conference Room 1. And I would like to, so those do know, need to know, we do have curbside voting available. I had someone come in today and said they had their wife, an elderly wife, in the vehicle, and we took the machine out and let them sign and vote, and just let me know when that's available for anyone that's ill or just can't get out. Thank you.
Election day is June 13th. Our next city council meeting is June 16th. So we'll be canvassing the results of that election, administer the oath for the winning candidate, then following assignment of seats and liaison positions. Also, we'll be recognizing Ms. Tracy Campos for 20-year service. And that's what I know to be coming up at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Appreciate it. City staff reports, report discussion of significant fire and EMS events. Assistant Chief Christian.
Staying busy like usual. The Citizens Fire Academy is still ongoing. I believe it's proving to be a success so far, and that's about all I got.
Good question. Can you expand on that, the coverage that we're doing for the Camelot Fire Department that was on the news recently?
Camelot has been placed, the Camelot Volunteer Fire Department has been placed out of service by the Bexar County Fire Marshal and Bexar County Commissioner's Court, I believe, those to be the appropriate parties. We were requested by Bexar County Fire Marshal's office to provide service to part of their area. Mr. Hughes agreed to it. We at the fire department have taken it on. We are providing the same services there as we provide to the citizens here to the best of our abilities. And we have approximate, well, if anybody's familiar with the area, we are covering from Glenmont back to 1976, other than the Army Retirement Center that is in Windcrest side. Windcrest is covering the rest of it. I believe the first week, which was last week, we began on Monday at 5 p.m. We had a total of 5 runs over there that we made. Windcrest by far has the busier side, and they're running by far more calls than we are over there.
Thank you, and Commissioner Atkinson relays sincere thanks for stepping up.
Question
on that.
Has there not been some discussion about possibly taking half of that area and including it in our emergency service district?
Not to my knowledge, there is not. There was discussion through the grapevine a while back about them possibly creating their own emergency services district over there. I don't know where that's gone. To the best of my knowledge, it has not been brought up to include it into ours. That would have to be something voted on by the current ESD and approved as well. So
Probably a misquote.
No, I think that would be very difficult. First, the voters within the area would have to vote to join, and the voters in ESD number 1 would have to vote to allow them to join. So that's a pretty tall order. Now, I guess we could explore that a little bit, but the short answer is we're not making any more runs than we were because we would cover them anyway. I mean, that's the truth. The other is Mark and I had a meeting with the San Antonio Planning, And we have some discussions ongoing about release of further ETJ and trade for services. So we need to refine that concept a little bit and get some more heads to go up and down, but we'll be meeting with you about looking at some future boundaries, some annexation plans, and what we're willing to provide in order to get release of some territory. So we're probably going to support this normally longer than I would normally think is right. But given some other things that we're negotiating, I think it's in our best interest to provide good service to the county and to the citizens in that region right now until the county can get that department straightened up.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Report and discussion of significant police events. Police Chief Jameson